Whoop. Throw on my head. No, that's not what I'm picking. Hey fellow fiction fanatics, I'm Chase. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Hamilton book tag. I absolutely love Hamilton and I'm so excited to do this. But I need to say that there is no way that I'm going to be able to get through this tag without singing, so I apologize in advance for that. But without further ado, let's get into this. The first question is, the room where it happens, the room where it happens, the room where it happens. So this is a book world that you would put yourself in. So because I don't want to die, I would most likely put myself in the books of Bayern, the first book being The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale, and this book really got me into reading. And to sum up this book, I would have to say it's far off places, daring sword fights, magic spells, a prince in disguise. It's just utterly perfect, and I would love to be in this world. There's magic, there's romance, there's fun, so I would definitely transport myself into the books of Bayern. Next up we have the Schuyler Sisters. So I'm supposed to pick an underrated female character. So I'm picking a character from the Throne of Glass. Specifically, she comes up in Queens of Shadows. Because it is Sarah J. Maas, I have no idea how to pronounce this character's name. So her name is spelled E-L-I-D-E. And my brain switches between Elide, which is most likely how you pronounce it, and Elodie. Don't know why. I think it's pretty. I like it, but it's probably not right. This character is very underrated, and she doesn't see how awesome she is. So I found this thing that definitely describes her perfectly, but it kind of spoilers a tiny little bit about what she goes through. Fair warning, but I'm going to read this because it sums her up perfectly. So this is Elide, or however you say her name, and she says, "Once I find Aelin, what skills do I have to offer her?" And then it talks about all the stuff she has done. Befriends the Iron Teeth witch leader, escapes from Morath, carries a word key for weeks through the wilderness, gets hired for the first job she ever applied for, kills 2 Ilkin with a hatchet despite a broken nose, hurting wrist, and menstrual cramps, finds the scariest male on the planet and makes him her fill in the blank. Maybe I could do her laundry? So that pretty much sums up our character. She is really great. She's definitely an underrated female character, so that's why I'm picking her for this prompt. And next we have, yo, I'm just like my country, I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. So for this one, we're supposed to name a character who goes after what they want and doesn't let anything stop them. And for that, I'm picking the one, the only, Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride. If this doesn't sum up Inigo, then I don't know what does. So for Stay Alive, you're supposed to talk about a character you wished was still alive. So, major spoilers ahead, but I'm going to be talking about Cinder. This was so heartbreaking because Cinder is right there. She has the antidote in her hand. She's trying to give it to her sister, the person she loves more than anything, and she's a minute too late. She dies before she can give it to her. I wish she'd been able to give it to her sister and that we could have seen more of this character because I love her so much and I just wish we had more time with her. Got through that without crying, so that's good, but the next one we have is Burn, and that is the most heartbreaking end of a relationship you've ever read. And again, spoilers, but also not spoilers because it's from They Both Die at the End. So you know, they both die at the end. Matteo and Rufus, that was so hard to get through. I'm really trying not to cry. And wow, they grow from being complete opposites. I mean, they still are, but they just come together in the most perfect way. And I wish they had more than one day together. And that they didn't have to go the way they did because that was really hard. And I love those characters so much. It broke my heart to read about how their story ended, but it was heartbreaking and wonderful all at the same time. I would still definitely recommend reading this book. I don't have my hands on it yet because I can only find the offset cover one, and I hate that with a burning passion. Once I can find the hardcover, I will definitely be adding that to my collection because I love this book so deeply. It breaks my heart every time I think about it, but I loved it so much. That was the most heartbreaking way to end a relationship ever. On to a little more lighter note, and that is You'll Be Back. For this prompt, you're supposed to talk about a book with a sassy villain. And for that, I'm picking Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. Features Nimona and her mentor, Ballister Blackheart. They are the villains of this story, but it is told from their perspective, and it really makes you think, who are the real villains? They are so sassy and so great. This is definitely worth reading because it is quick, it is fun, and it really turns the whole villain trope on its head. Next we have the Reynolds Pamphlet. For this one, you're supposed to pick a book with a twist that you didn't see coming. For that, I'm picking The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This book is set in the 19th century and is about this main character who keeps reliving the same day over and over again. He wakes up as a different person each day. Evelyn Hardcastle, it looks like she commits suicide every night, but it's not, and he's trying to figure out who did it. I felt like a detective the whole time because I was trying to piece everything together. As soon as I thought I had some semblance of understanding, I would be thrown for a loop, and then the twist was just, wow. I did not see that coming, and I very much enjoyed this book. So definitely pick this up if you're in for a crazy whirlwind of murder, mystery, and intrigue, because this definitely has all of those things. Next up we have Nonstop. For this, we're talking about a series that you marathoned. For me, I'm picking The Land of Stories by Christopher Colfer, specifically the last 3 books in this series, the first one being Beyond the Kingdoms. When I finished reading this one, I immediately had to jump into the next one, which is The Author's Odyssey. I loved both of these books so much, and then I was able to read the finale, which is Worlds Collide. These books were so intriguing, and I just wanted to continue reading. They were so fantastic and magical, and I just had to know what was going to happen to the Bailey twins. So I'm so glad I picked these up, and that I was able to marathon this series, especially these last 3. Definitely give this a go if you are a fan of Magic Tree House or love books featuring siblings finding out about a magical world. I definitely recommend this series because it is so magical and fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading these. For Satisfied, you're supposed to pick your favorite book with multiple perspectives. So for that, I'm picking The Lorien Legacies, specifically The Rise of 9, because this book is really where you get to see the multiple perspectives come into play. The cool thing about these perspectives is that each chapter doesn't tell you which perspective you're reading from. It does, but it doesn't. The way it does this is each character's perspective has its own font. So for example, one character will have a really bolded font, or another character will have a more typewriter-like font. Jumping through different perspectives, you'll be able to tell whose perspective you're reading from just by the font alone. And that is something that I'd never really seen before, and I think is really cool, and I really enjoyed how Pittacus Lore was able to do this. And this series is definitely underrated, and I'd love to know if you read these because I'm a big fan, and I really enjoyed them. And lastly, we have Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story. So for that, you're picking a book or series that you think will be remembered throughout history. And I'm picking The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Angie Thomas is a phenomenal author. She is one of my all-time favorite authors, and this book is so impactful and meaningful. And for these reasons, I believe this book will be remembered throughout history. Alright, so that's the Hamilton book tag. I'd love to know how you would answer these questions and if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to share the love. I'll see you next time. Bye!